Hi there, my name is Juliana Hock, and I help people who may or may not be diagnosed with ADHD, and I help you go from feeling uncertainty to feeling in control and productive. Welcome to Easy ADHD Coaching, and if you are interested in ADHD coaching and how it could help you, please feel free to go to my website and to book a complimentary consultation call where we spend 30 minutes to see if we would work well together and see if you would like to pursue coaching. Anyways, kicking it off from there. So today we are discussing the book Dirty Laundry. And I really liked this book and I wanted to do a little, what I took away from the book. I also host a monthly book club book meeting, and my book club group focuses on educational content around ADHD, and I choose the books specifically that have helped me gain awareness in a specific area of neurodivergency that I might have not known about before, or really helped me sharpen a skill or become aware of something that really helped impact my life. So this book, Dirty Laundry, was a fan favorite. I was recommended by two people to read this book. And before I start anything, so this book is called Dirty Laundry: Why Adults with ADHD Are So Ashamed and What We Can Do to Help, by Richard Pink and Roxane Emery. And something to talk about this book before I even get started is this is a co-written book between a husband and a wife. Husband is not ADHD, wife is ADHD. And I want to, just before I say anything about what I took away from the book, I really want to express that this is a great read. It's not a hard read. You can definitely, I read it in like 2 days or 3 days, and I ended up reading it 3 times. That's just the kind of person I am, that I really like mastering every page of a book. Okay, whatever. So another really cool thing about this book was that it was so short, sweet, and to the point that you weren't reading about one topic for way too long. I would have liked to maybe see each topic, because they picked out, like 8 or 9 like very common popular ADHD executive function topics. I would have liked to see them dive a little bit deeper in it, but I mean, I can't ask somebody who's not an ADHD coach, talk about the psychotherapy of ADHD. So, but that being said, this book was the perspective of a husband and wife who, was learning about their ADHD, the bringing awareness to ADHD to their life to really make their life more manageable, not only for themselves, but as a collaborative team together. And something kind of cool was that when they were learning about ADHD and Richard really wanted to help Rox, so in the book, they say, instead of Roxane Emery, they call her Rox. So Richard really wants to help Rox like lift the shame of the day-to-day ADHD challenges and help her like live a life that is worth meaningful to her. And what was really cool was they then started a TikTok account to like share their discoveries and findings. And then it was really interesting that Richard was like, "Oh, Rox, are you still enjoying TikTok? Like, is this something you still like?" It was just really cool to see them work together as a team. That being said, if you take away anything from this Zoom recording, what I want you to know is this book made me feel so seen with my executive function challenges. And why I say that is because sometimes when I think I am really bad off, or if I like, there have been times like I think like I am the only person that can't manage an executive function. When I was reading Rox's story of especially like how she manages her house and like day-to-day house chores, it made me feel so okay about myself that, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I can actually like get to do the laundry. Like, there are some things that I can do that maybe other ADHDers can't do. And there are things that I can do that clearly Rox can probably do. So it's, if Rox, if you are listening to this, I just want you to know you're a badass woman and keep up the executive function. You are a trailblazer. Okay. But anyways, it made me feel so good when Rox like talked about her house, like keeping up with the house struggles because they're, growing up in an Italian household. My mom was one of 10 kids. I was born and raised in a very large family that like it just almost seemed normal for the mother of the house or the female of the house to be like completely dominate the house chores. And I've just never been someone who was like very good at, the house chores. But what was cool that was said in this book was, just pick one thing to do a day and like be okay with that one thing. And Rox's one thing might literally just be taking out the trash, which to me, like, I think that's a great place to start because instead of having shame that you're not getting all of these things done, you can at least say, I'm moving the needle forward with this one thing, which is the trash. And I mean, that's a pretty big household chore if you ask me as well. And like little things such as doing the dishes, doing the laundry. So that being said, I also really felt more seen when it came to, well, this was also really a popular discussion in book club about the laundromat on the floor. So Rox like very much normalized having all her clothes on the floor. And it was just really interesting to hear like that was a struggle of hers. And being okay with, okay, I'm gonna put the clothes I might have just worn one time over here because I can still wear them, but like let's take care of the rest of the clothes. So I think for me, just hearing someone else having these laundry struggles really helped me feel so seen that like it motivates me to keep up with laundry because I know it's a struggle for us ADHDers that so essentially that is an executive function challenge, being able to keep up with the day-to-day skill. So that being said, on the topic of laundry, because I'm gonna, direct this. I just have some notes down, so there's not really a format or a flow. So I'm just uh linking with laundry is another thing that came up in book club was brushing teeth, and that it was a common challenge for us ADHDers. Like I was surprised that everyone in my book club meeting said that brushing their teeth was a challenge for them. So Rox mentions in her book, poor personal hygiene. So I'm curious, thinking about yourselves and having personal poor hygiene, like what does that look like for you? Like what do you have a harder time with? And how can we make it easy for you? So it was really interesting. A book club member brought up using like a specific toothpaste. Someone else said they meant they use a flavored toothpaste. I brought up using an electric toothbrush because I just started using an electric toothbrush and it's actually crazy how clean my mouth feels when I'm done. And it was also really empowering to hear how other adults struggle with brushing their teeth because it like now when I go to bed at night, I'm like, I don't want to struggle. Like I actually want to do better. Like I know I don't want to brush my teeth, but like I don't want this to be a challenge for me. So like just, when things are hard, even like hygiene things, like to remember why you're doing like tying in a value of like wanting to, take care of your personal hygiene, but also like how you will feel once you keep up with like just the act of brushing your teeth one time, but also keeping up the consistency of brushing your teeth, taking action to continue to brush your teeth. So that being said, yeah, so she mentioned struggling with cleaning the house, her laundry. So the next thing I wanted to jump into is banking. So how to manage money. And reading this really inspired me to know more about ADHD-friendly money tips and tricks, which I'll go into another episode. But something that I am taking away from Rox's side of the story with managing money was for her, it seemed like she had more shame around not opening the mail and not taking care of just, I don't know, opening up finance things, the shame of, can I pay this? The shame of, oh, wow, this is past due. Like, I don't want to have to deal with the shame. So it's like when you are experiencing this type of shame, how can we make it easier for you? But also, how can we make this manageable for you? But that being said, and I'll discuss this in other videos, that I wanted to learn more tricks for money, then I reread Tracy's finance book, chapter in her book, and then I started, okay, so I'll go into more finance tips and tricks at another time. Another really big part of this book was depending on a spouse and having, a partner help you with executive function challenges. And that's a huge topic of discussion for this book because I wasn't really picking up on how much Rox depends on Richard because I don't have a partner that I rely on so much for that. But it is so true, and we see this in a lot of ADHD relationships where one of the people in the relationship has ADHD, and having help at home to help you go push through the shame and to help you remember like there was an open task that I didn't get to. So just, having just the understanding of who is your support system. And I think that's important to know while navigating executive function challenges, especially at home. And, when you are in a relationship with a partner who is helping you with executive function challenges, to also be honest and mindful of where am I having a challenging time? Like, where is there a problem and how can I, go about fixing this? So, or how can I help bring this to their attention so that we can work on this together? Because it really seemed like Richard helped bring the Rox's challenges to life, it seemed like as well. So that was also interesting to see and read about. Moving on from there, there was a phenomenal chapter, chapter 9, where it says dyslexia and basically directional dyslexia. So this is another thing about dyslexia that blows my mind about people is because everyone thinks that dyslexia is, oh, we flip the letters around. No, it is not. It is so much more than that. And in fact, when I learned where I was in space and time, it not only helped me become aware of sequence of when I'm speaking in real life, having a conversation, but also being able to show up places on time. So that being said, um, having an understanding of where you are in space and time. So is time available to you? Can you see what time it is? Are you aware of when things are starting and ending? So I really thought that chapter was very useful, and something Rox does that I thought was really cool is that she plans her adventure. So essentially, they also, Rox and Richard also live in London, so their sense of way of living is much different than in the United States because in the UK they take tubes and trains everywhere. So for Rox, she was getting confused on which train to take, when to get off, and just having an understanding of where things are um for the train station, but also when she arrives to a new place, knowing where that new place is. So she went into detail about how to plan your adventure, and I thought this was really helpful. So, having visual GPS directions. So if you're someone that doesn't work too well with, written instructions or even a guided GPS instruction, asking for visual landmarks and visual cues of when you're traveling, you can be mindful of, where you are in space and time, which is phenomenal. A great thing for that is to also look up in Google Maps before you travel somewhere and kind of see where you're going to be, what exits you'll be passing, if there's any major landmarks, so that you can just be aware of, where you're heading and where you are in the time frame. And something else really cool that is coming up for me is Rox even mentioned just being chronically late to meet with family and friends. And she said that it was easier, you if you have ADHD, you might understand this, but when you're running late for something and you're telling the party, I'll be there in 5 minutes, but really you just left your house and it's a 25-minute drive. In this situation, Rox was saying, it did not serve me to tell them I was 5 minutes away when I was really 25 minutes away, because it just like she then created more shame for herself. And she was just saying it was actually helpful to be honest with the reciprocal party of where she actually was in the time of her travel plans. Um, so yeah, that being said, I really loved this book. It was so tolerable to read. I think it's great for not only ADHD people to read this, but also people that don't have ADHD, and just for the sole purpose of that if you don't have ADHD, you can understand what your spouse is going through on a day-to-day basis, especially if they are undiagnosed 88 with ADHD, because this book lives the story of somebody who had untreated ADHD and basically how their life changed, not only for them, but in their work life, their home life, and also with their spouse and their partner at home and just day-to-day living. So I think it's really helpful to understand that your brain is not broken, and that, these are executive function challenges, and that you're not alone. So for that sense, if you are looking to feel seen and just understand that this is something that us ADHD people do struggle with, I definitely encourage this book to read. So again, if you are interested in learning more about ADHD coaching, or how I can help you as an ADHD coach, please feel free to visit my website at easyadhdcoaching.com, and you can schedule a complimentary discovery call on my website. Thank you so much, you guys, and until next time, bye-bye.